On today's episode of Pathmonk Presents, I have a very special guest with me here today. Please welcome Derek, who is the VP of Demand Generation at LeadGenius. Derek, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. I'm super excited to hear more about you, your growth story, ultimately how you ended up at LeadGenius, and seeing all the really great things you guys are doing in-house in the company. So thanks again for taking the time to join us today.
Yeah, thanks so much, Maria, for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's our pleasure. So for all of our listeners out there, give us the 411. What is LeadGenius all about?
Yeah, so we actually started out in the B2B data space about 10 years ago, Bay Area-based startup. And our niche has always been giving bespoke data to sales and marketing teams for greater levels of personalization, segmentation, and basically campaign efficiency. So, we have a big world of pre-built data providers out there, the Dun & Bradstreets, the Zoom Infos, the Apollos of the world that build these large kind of cafeteria style data offerings. And those are great for, getting a jump into a market, right? Getting a head start and kind of learning about your total addressable market and testing campaigns out. But as these businesses mature, as they get to later stages, as they develop their product offerings and they develop their personas and their kind of segmentation, they often need custom insights that are industry specific, market tier specific, geographic specific, that big pre-built data offers can't basically service, right? It's a cafeteria style data offering. They have a set menu of things that they offer, and you kind of take what you can get. LeadGenius is a bespoke data offering. We're a precision data offering. We work with enterprise sales teams to basically figure out the secret sauce of each of their product market fits. So a lot of our users are niche sales teams that are looking for signals about, hey, when is a company hiring? Have they launched a new product? What does their supply chain look like? Or is there certain types of e-commerce activity or something else going on that leads as a leading indicator for activity and for kind of segmentation or prioritization? We also have a lot of product marketers who say, hey, I've got a subset of that audience, of that larger audience that maybe a Dun & Bradstreet or a Zoom Info can offer me, but I need really, really granular details about these individuals, their job to be done, and the things that are going on inside their organization that you might only find through a 10K report or through some other type of intent or signal tracking that is very, very specific. So that's what we do as a business. We're a precision data platform. We act as a complement to a lot of those bigger tools. And we basically help to, on the rep side, take the best practices of your most effective prospectors, your most effective, kind of pipeline builders, and scale that across the organization so that they've got, all the data that they need at their fingertips and they can properly prioritize. Here's my warmest leads and here's my second warmest set of people. From a marketing standpoint, we're pulling out these interesting data points, these custom data points for over 45 million public websites around the world, to help them with messaging, helping them with segmentation, helping them to understand, hey, you're this company not only had funding activity, but also they've actually had, a new product, a new service launched, or they've opened up a new office in a new region or location, and they might be a good fit. So again, that's what we do as a business. We're a B2B data provider, and we can provide both, kind of the account level signals, but also contact level signals and contact level data, to orchestrate outreach and personalization.
Wow, that's really great. Thanks for giving me a really depth insight and for walking me through and explaining as well. I think it's really great what LeadGenius is doing. So now in terms of your clients, who are your clients then? Are you industry agnostic, or do you tend to focus on other sectors?
So, we are industry agnostic in the sense that we have people in, in the healthcare space. We have people in the traditional SaaS space. We even focus on, companies that are targeting restaurants. I think that, our customers are very evolved in their understanding of their target markets, and they're usually looking for industry specific data, right? They're really, really trying to nail down something about their audience. So, again, I'll give you just a quick example. We help a lot of different payment providers, payment tech providers, companies like PayPal and Square, Amazon Pay, and they each have different kind of corners of the market that they service through their product offering and their product market fit. But, one company might be really interested in something like quick service restaurants, where you go up and you slide a card, you order from a counter and you get a number, and there's not a formal waiter like there traditionally is inside of a formal dining restaurant. Well, that's a very, very different type of characteristic that they'd be looking for that type than just say a pre-built database would offer by saying, hey, these are food and beverage leads, right? They don't care about food and beverage leads. They care about quick service restaurants. And more specifically, they care about quick service restaurants that have 4 or more locations, because those are bigger deals. They have bigger transactional values. So again, it's not a startup looking for their first leads that we're going to be the best fit for. It's the late stage, enterprise businesses, mid-market businesses that really know who they want to target, where they win and where they should win. And we're basically kind of separating that wheat from chaff and helping them to prioritize the best leads for their next best customer.
That's really great. Thanks for giving me an example and explaining it overall. It's so much more clear as well. So thank you. Now, I want to switch gears here and I want to talk about the website. So in your own words, what would you say are the major strengths of the LeadGenius website, but also where are there opportunities for room for improvement as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think our strengths is that we've tried to really build out use cases and persona-based messaging so that, our sales ops people, our marketing ops people, the sales leader, the BDR leader, the marketing head, the product marketer, the event marketer, all have something that they can read and reflect on. And we do serve, experiences to customers, kind of like Pathmonk does, right? So like we're trying to identify on the website, where are they coming from? What organization they're coming from? Are they coming from internationally? Do they want to learn more about our global data capacities? Because it's a critical differentiator with the way that we build data and the fact that we can be compliant to a number of different laws around the world. So I think that, our strength is that we're trying to serve experiences to people and try to have more of a human interaction. Obviously from a marketing standpoint, I would like to update some of the collateral images, branding, some of those other things that I think are probably need to be updated. They're a little bit 2000 late. So, those are some of the strengths and weaknesses, but we really try to make it about the customer journey. And we really try to create a formal understanding of, this is the pain that this person is trying to solve for. Do you look like that? Is that mirror your experience? So I think when you're customer first, you're going to have a good experience in the website, but there's definitely some area for opportunity without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. But I really love how, especially on the website too, where I can see where, the customer journey is very clear cut. It's to the point, and it allows for me to be able to see, okay, this is what I need. And then be able to see the resources and ultimately where, I'm being educated as well. Like, okay, for anyone who's coming to the website where they're unsure, but throughout each of the main call to actions, I could tell you guys have put a lot of thought into like educating anyone who comes to the website, positioning yourself as thought leaders too, which I think is really great as well, because it separates you from your competitors. So I think it's awesome what you guys are doing.
Yeah, and I mean, and one of the things that we're working on as an organization as well is product-led growth and bringing that product experience forward. So we use a tool called Toriel on the website that you can actually experience some of the demos. But more and more, we're going to be, basically giving people access to data sets and our actual platform, as a first impression as well, because there's nothing, that says like, oh, what is this going to do for me? Like actually experiencing, hey, great, I can sync a Salesforce report. I can pull in an event list and actually find new context. You get instant gratification, creates action and creates, awareness from an audience base. So that's definitely something that we're looking to expand upon. And we've got some exciting product releases happening in Q3 that are going to make that all possible.
That's exciting. Awesome. So now I want to talk about you as a leader. So give us an insight. So what does being the VP of Demand Gen really entail for you? And ultimately, what are things you have learned, not only in this role, but that have helped you within your professional career overall?
Yeah, so I wear a lot of hats inside the organization. I run the marketing enterprise for the business, helping to, oversee our marketing efforts from a content standpoint, from a Pardot, and marketing automation system standpoint, handling all that, as well as things like the website, the ad strategy and managing the team that upholds all that. Additionally, I run an SDR team. So, we got a global SDR team of 11 individuals who are, using our data and calling, into those opportunities to start conversations and to build pipeline. Additionally, we're eating our own dog food. We are our own customer, right? And so, I have to also be kind of a product manager and providing feedback on, hey, like this worked really well. This is our best performing campaign. We need to, service case studies and feature this as a conversation track for demand gen leaders. So, it's a lot. I think that what I've learned is, when running a big, broad department, it's important to kind of be skilled in a lot of different areas, but be a kind of a master of none, right? Like you've got to be very, very versatile, a dilettante in a way, right? So, you got to really be able to sit down and focus on your areas of need and understand that those are going to change on an ongoing basis, right? Like we go through sprints where we've got a big, extensive focus on content marketing. And then, it's like, great, like, we got to hire more SDRs. We got to change hats. We got to pivot. We got to shift. So it's really just, kind of taking one day at a time, really being focused on the biggest priorities and not getting too overwhelmed with, some of the smaller fires that might be going on at any given time. And that's definitely taken me some time because, I've been a leader in previous organizations and maybe been too controlling, too much of an overlord. And that's just not sustainable long term, right? You're going to burn yourself out. You're going to burn your people out. You're going to, you need to be empowering as a leader. You need to give direction and guidance and, at the same time, be supportive. And then when things are not working, you need to be able to, be the boss and sometimes, have a little bit of discipline in there as well. So, I think that the more that I've managed people, the larger groups that I've managed and been responsible for, whether that's leading sales teams or customer success teams or SDR teams, every kind of role has a different kind of skill set, whether you're more directive in your coaching, whether you're more passive and whether you just kind of show, not tell. So again, I think that, you just as you get older, you kind of learn, okay, hey, I gotta, worry about what I can actually tackle and handle in a day. And some of the stuff you just gotta let go and prioritize, for sanity's sake.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's really great how you emphasized on, focus on the things that you are great at and that you enjoy doing and really niching on those things where you can't control. And everything, the other aspects, you'll just have to pivot and work around them and see, okay, how can we fit this in? Or if there's a possibility, we can delegate it to other team members. But I think it's really great where, providing that's like the solid advice, don't burn yourself out and figure out ways on how you can, be a better team leader and how to empower your team where it's not burning you out and it's not hurting your team as well. So I think that's really great sound advice. And it's something that a lot of, especially for those who want to transition into manager roles, they always struggle with, okay, how do I make sure that I can, make sure my team is hitting our goals and we're, working together and not getting overwhelmed. So I think that's really great. So now we're getting close to the end of our interview and I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Yep.
Awesome. What is the last book that you read?
Oh, the last book I read actually was the Bob Iger book about his tenure as the CEO of Disney. And this is actually prior to him stepping down and prior to him coming back. So it's been about a year since I read a full book. I've read passages of a bunch of other short books, including a book called Sapiens, which is a really, really interesting, look back on human evolution and history and, the social creatures that we are, how language evolved and how our behavioral traits evolved in groups, which I think is a good book to read if you're managing people.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to make a note, Sapiens. Okay. So now, if there were no boundaries in technology, you could do whatever you wanted. What would be the one thing that you would want to have fixed in your role today?
Oh, man, there's no boundaries in technology. It's crazy because we're obviously on kind of the starting journey of this AI revolution, and it already has solved a lot of the challenges for us. From a messaging and from a demand gen perspective, it's simplified tasks. I want to say solved, right? It's simplified tasks, and it's made time utilization better. I think that probably like one of the real challenges of my role is to, be able to sit there and understand where people are dropping off in their customer journey, right? Like, to do that role well, to actually crunch the data, to understand, hey, this funnel's converting better than this funnel, right? This persona is clearly getting more out of the knowledge that we're providing, the materials that we're providing, the conversations that we're having, the content we're releasing than this persona is, right? To be able to better measure that and to better pick winners, right? Hey, this is a winning formula. This is a secret sauce. You've created a lot of wins inside of marketers. Great. Why are we not doing the same inside of a revenue ops person? What's missing in that customer journey, right? So I think that like that's a very analytical, very data-driven, and very trying type of evaluation to do, because you have to be able to really measure your funnels, and you have to be able to de-anonymize data, and there's a lot involved there, right? There's a lot of segmentation. What share of traffic are we getting? Is it proportional to the audiences that we want to serve, right? So that's always a struggle. And I think that, AI will probably help us to better group data and information, better uncover insights. But that's something that, takes a lot of effort today. And I think that we could do better as an organization. I think that the market could generally do that better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that ideally is what a lot of people are wanting next. Like, how can we be able to see where in the customer journey people are jumping off, and how to be able to pivot their decisions to like ultimately go throughout the entire funnel. So
yeah, how to enable them, right? How to enable them, how to give them the learning in the form, or offer the correct forms of learning to each person, right? Because again, some people are going to love to sit down and play with an on-site demo and explore and tinker. Other people are going to want to read, a case study or a white paper, right? Other people are just going to sit there and read reviews on G2 Crowd or, on Capterra or some of the review site. Everyone learns and makes decisions slightly different, right? And so understanding, hey, this persona really reacts best to this type of learning is something that we're always testing and always trying to challenge ourselves to do better, but it's a big lift.
Yeah, it is a big lift. Absolutely. So now we're at the end of our interview today, and I want to thank you so much for joining us on the podcast, but I also want to give you the last word. If anyone were to forget about everything we've talked about today, what is the one thing you want them to remember about LeadGenius overall?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the big lesson is, and actually Salesforce had a recent kind of state of data report that they published. And, the findings shouldn't really be that astonishing to anyone. It's that, the future is in precision, right? The future is not in the same insights that we've been talking to people, telling people, oh, hey, I went to, you went to the same college as me, or, hey, I see that you changed jobs. Like, those are table stakes. Those are basic, things that every solution provider out there is leveraging, right? But the future of data, in our opinion, is in understanding your buyers at the most fundamental and integrated level, right? Understanding exactly what their challenge is, much to the point that I was making earlier about how do people learn, right? Like, who is your audience at its most fundamental level? Who has the challenges? Not just a broad set of people, demand generation titles, but demand generation titles at quickly growing companies that just started SDR teams, right? That are expanding into Europe, right? Like, that's a great fit for us. That's like an example of a really, really bespoke kind of target audience that we focus on. And if you talk to sales and marketing teams that are aligned, right? They've got that type of intimacy and understanding. The marketing team is learning from the sales team. The sales team is feeding information back to the marketing team. You've got this really, really nice alignment. So again, like if you are a company that's trying to increase your sales alignment or already has really, really good sales alignment, and you need the niche bespoke data at scale, you need to monitor 50,000 accounts to tell you which 100,000 or which 10,000 are going to be your top performing accounts are going to be the most likely to be receiving your message. That's a fit for LeadGenius. We can help to scale those custom insights, that bespoke data, and provide basically, the next step, the playbook for, how do we use this custom information in order to create better messaging and better conversion and a better funnel, right? So that's what LeadGenius does at the end of the day. And we're, like I said, really kind of 3 areas of specification. Industry specific specification, talking to someone who's targeting healthcare leads, they're going to want to know very different data points. How many beds are in this hospital, right? That's a data point that someone who's targeting healthcare would care about. Someone who's targeting restaurants doesn't care about the number of beds, right? It's inconsequential, right? They want to know what the most popular menu item is, or how many locations does this business have, or are they opening up new locations, right? That's the kind of data that they're interested in. So again, industry specific data is one way to look at it. Down market data, mid market, SMB data, emerging businesses, we're great at that. We can uncover, tons of insights on businesses like that. And then the third is geographic specific data, whether that's like, hey, help me to uncover more leads of these types of businesses in the South and in Alabama, or whether that's, hey, I need you to build me a GDPR compliant data set in Germany that we can actually use it with a regional sales team to make them more efficient, to make sure that they're not crossing any compliance boundaries. So again, that's what we do as a business, is that bespoke data set. And again, thinking about it in those 3 ways is a good way for people to think about us.
Yeah, definitely. And especially too with going in depth in those examples and explaining, how LeadGenius is like making gathering this data so much easier for companies. It's really great overall. So thanks again, Derek. It was a real pleasure having you on the show and hearing about your growth story and ultimately seeing all the really amazing things you guys are doing in-house at LeadGenius. So thanks again.
Thanks again, Mariah.